So to give a bit of context, there are two main food delivery platforms active in Austria. The first one is Miam. This is ex-Foodora. At the time of the survey, there were about 2,600 couriers active, and most of them are in a kind of freelance status, employed in a freelance status, so free service providers are they called. And this platform offers the opportunity for the couriers to choose between being generally employed or being a free service provider, and most of them opt for to be a free service provider. Then we have Liverando, employing 2,000 couriers, and all of them are generally employed. If you look at the workers' organizations, there's one union active organizing the couriers. It's called VIDA, and there's this supportive community called the Riders Collective, and this collective is consisting of unionized active couriers supporting other couriers and organizing social events for them and encouraging union membership. So far, the unions or VIDA has achieved have achieved a collective agreement for the food couriers, and also is also active recruiting them. And in the Austrian context, there's a strong distinction between the employee status and the free service providers, also when it concerns the benefits. So for the couriers that are generally employed, they have a collective agreement as applying to them since 2019, but it was negotiated in 2019. And this agreement is installing a minimum pay and also minimum terms and conditions for the couriers. So there's a fixed number of working hours of maximum 14 hours a week, and there's a minimum wage of 9.21 euros. Couriers could receive a 13 and 14-month salary. There's a lump sum for the use of mobile. There's mobility allowance in case of using their own bike, and they also get holiday pay and sick leave. And apart from that, there's also works council set up in both platforms companies in 2017 and 2019. For the free service providers, the collective agreement is not applying to them. They have no representation in terms of works councils. They are just paid by delivery. Miam is guaranteeing 2 deliveries an hour, so minimum earning 8 euros. The incentives for the couriers to opt for the free service provider status is that they have, or at least perceived flexibility in terms of working hours. They are maximizing their income, but this is also dependent on the availability of shifts, performance, and their ranking within the algorithm. Apart from that, they do get free legal advice via the Chamber of Labor and have some minimal social protection in terms of a number of insurances. Now, coming to the survey was conducted in August 2021 until January 22. It was disseminated via the Riders Collective and the Chamber of Labor, via WhatsApp groups, mailing lists, social media websites, and also via face-to-face recruitment at the streets and, for instance, at the headquarters of one of the platforms. The survey was available in 4 languages, and we received 256 usable questionnaires. There is an overrepresentation of YAM couriers, so those that are in a free service provider contract, and also couriers with higher education are a bit overrepresented. The survey is representative for gender, age, and citizenship. And we've done a regression analysis. Looking at the social composition of the couriers in Austria, then not surprisingly, most of them are men. Mean age stands at 29 years. Most of them are within a free service providers. So this is the difference between the two platform companies. Education is mainly middle or high in the Austrian context. There's 1/3 of students. Most of them are working for Miam. Also Austrian citizenship. So a lot of the Kuris are migrant workers. And most of them, or more of them, are working with Miam and the free service employment status. Half of them are working less than 20 hours a week. A bit more than 40% is this working more than 20 hours a week, and 6% is only working 40 hours, more than 40 hours a week. Most of them don't stay long in the job. About 50% is working for less than 1 year as a career, and they don't expect to stay long in the job. About 75% has no online contacts with other careers, and about less than half of them have also no contact with other careers in person. 50% of them are unionized, and 15% are participating in the Writers Collective. Our analytical framework relates to the traditional theory on unionization, determinants of unionization. For different reasons, we think that the writers with a free service contract are less likely to unionize, either because they feel outsiders, because the collective agreement is only applying to careers in employment, or it might be also the case that there is a process of self-selection going on. At the same time, we think that the employment status is mediated by union instrumentality. So we think those careers that have a strong belief in how the union is instrumental in improving their terms and conditions are more likely to unionize. Furthermore, there are a number of other instrumental reasons. First of all is job satisfaction. So those careers with low perception of job satisfaction are more likely to unionize, and we measured this with 3 dimensions: economic security, autonomy, and enjoyment. Those that have a lower belief in union instrumentality, or here a stronger belief in union instrumentality, are more likely to unionize. Those that are longer in the job are also more likely to unionize, and those that have a strong attachment to their job, and those that are expected to continue with their delivery job are also we expected that they are also more likely to unionize. And then further on, those that are more active, interact more with careers, we expect that they are also more likely to unionize. Either it's online or face-to-face interactions with other careers, or because they are actively attending the events organized by the Writers Collective. The measures we use is, first of all, the dependent variable is union membership, of course. Then employment status is also a binary variable. Perceived union instrumentality, we use 3 items. Writers need a strong trade union to represent their interests. Without trade unions, the working conditions of writers would be worse, and without trade unions, writers would earn less. Then we have 3 items on job satisfaction, and then we use a number of other variables like the current and expected job tenure. The economic attachment is based on working hours, the frequency of contacts through social media and in-person contacts, and then their participation in the Writers Collective. And we have also a number of control variables: gender, age, citizenship, student status, education level, and the platform they are working for. The results, significant variables are the employment status. So those with a free service provided contract are less likely to unionize. Those with a high job satisfaction are less likely to unionize. In other words, those that are dissatisfied with their pay are more likely to unionize. Those that are perceive the union as instrumental to increase their working terms and conditions are also more likely to unionize. And this effect is more for those that are employed than compared to free service providers. Those that are working longer in the delivery job are also more likely to unionize. Those that have more context, in-person context with other careers are also more likely to unionize. But there's a puzzling thing here. This effect is weaker for the employed careers. And then participation in the Riders Collective has also a positive effect on unionization, especially for employed careers. We find no significant effect for job dissatisfaction when it concerns perceived autonomy and the enjoyment of the job. At least at the we find a significant effect at the 10% level for the enjoyment of the job, which is quite puzzling, meaning that those that enjoy their delivery job are also more likely to unionize. And then we find no effect for those that are expecting to stay longer in the job, or no effect for those that are attached to their delivery job measured in working hours, and also no significant effect for the interaction when it concerns online contacts and the employment status. So conclusion, unionization is driven by instrumental reasons and reasons related to unionization as a social custom, also for food delivery workers, just like you would expect for workers in the conventional economy. Careers are reasons for unionization for careers as dissatisfaction with pay, perceived union instrumentality. The more context they have with colleagues or other careers, and the more they attend meetings and participate in the Riders Collective, the more likely that they are unionizing. Barriers to unionization in the Austrian context is the employment status, shorter job tenure, and fewer personal context. At the same time, you could also say that those that have a free service contract are a bit free riding on the achievements of the union, because the union is installing a minimum wage. So this means also that the platforms have to introduce at least also a kind of minimum pay for those on free service contracts. This is a research on the Austrian context, so we should be very careful about generalizations. Yeah, you could also see that unions make a difference in the Austrian context, at least, and the Riders Collective is like is an informal collective, but a kind of intermediation between the careers and the unions, at least in the Austrian context. Of course, you cannot generalize this to other contexts. It will be also dependent on the industrial relations system, the relationship between the union and the informal collectives, and the social composition of the careers. And other limitations of the study is that it's a non-probability sample. We use a lot of binary measurements, and some variables are lacking, like the embeddedness of careers and union-friendly networks, for instance, and their ideological leanings.